As I mentioned in the first video, there are many English football clubs that no longer exist. How about we make a sequel and look at 10 more? Same rules as last time. If the club is dissolved and a Phoenix club's taken their place, that still counts for this list, and unless it's been proven that the lineage has continued over, it is still a different club. Also, I want to apologise for calling Scone FC Scone or Scone FC and upsetting several of my Scottish fans. And yes, and now my conscience is clear. Welcome to Good Sport Reviews. My name is Lewis, and this is 10 English football clubs that no longer exist, part 2. And if you could, then please click like and subscribe. It helps get the videos noticed, helps improve the quality of the channel. And yeah, go check out part 1 of this series as well for more football teams that no longer exist. Number 10, Rushden Diamonds FC. 19 years is not a long time for any football club to exist, and that goes especially for Rushden Diamonds FC, a club with a fantastic name, it must be said. Formed in 1992 following a merger between Rushden Town and Earthling Borough Diamonds, the club began life in the Southern Football League Midland Division, with their first campaign ending in a third place finish and their following campaign ending in them winning the league title and gaining promotion into the Southern Football League Premier Division. Another promotion followed 2 years later, and the Diamonds found themselves in the Football Conference League, finishing 12th, 4th and then finally second in the 1999-2000 season, which saw them promoted once again, and eventually the club found themselves in the second division in 2003. And this is where things went wrong for the once promising side. A run of poor results over the winter period saw them fall down the table, and it saw their manager Brian Talbot leave the club after 7 years at the helm. And following a transfer window which saw key players like Paul Underwood and Paul Hall leave the club, they slipped into a major decline, suffering 2 relegations in 3 years. And in 2010, things got worse when the club went through 2 chairmen in 3 months, leaving them financially destitute and unable to pay players' wages, resulting in them refusing to play a match against Mansfield Town in March of 2011. They were expelled from the Conference League in June of that year, with the club £750,000 in debt, and they went into administration on the 7th of July. A fan-owned version of the club exists today, but the original Rushden Diamonds FC are lost to time. Number 9, Darlington Town FC. Before dissolving in 2013, Darlington Town FC were one of the oldest non-league clubs in the country, with the side nicknamed the Citizens being founded in 1874 and spending their early years playing in the Wednesday Junior League and the Walsall District League. The early years saw success for the club, with them winning the Birmingham County Junior Cup after beating Hoobrook Olympic 1-0 in the 1898 final, and they won the Birmingham Junior League in 1907-08 as well. Following this, they returned to the Birmingham Combination in 1927, where they remained until 1954 when the league folded and the club were moved to the Birmingham District League, which played in the Division 1 North. Several promotions and relegations followed this, and the club actually became one of the founding members of Division 1, which they actually won back in 1990, and they also became the first side to win the Birmingham County FA Vase in back-to-back seasons from 1990 until 1992. Sadly, the club found themselves in a dire financial situation, with the side needing to raise £15,000 to continue operating into the 2013-14 season, with several outstanding bills still needing to be settled. This resulted in them closing down in 2013, with a Phoenix club called Darlington Town rising from the ashes and taking the place of the once historic Birmingham-based club. Number 8, AC London FC. Created with the sole purpose of giving young players from South London the chance to play competitive football, AC London FC only existed for 6 years between 2012 and 2018. They were founded as a youth setup originally in response to the 2011 London riots, before adding a full-age team shortly after, with the newly founded club appointing the founder, Prince Chowdhury, as club manager and chairman, making him the youngest of both in senior football at the age of just 16 years old. Before the 2015-16 season, the club applied to join the Kent Invicta League and were accepted after an initial rejection, before being transferred over to the Combined Counties League, where they won the Division 1 Challenge Cup in 2016-17. However, despite this quick success and actually participating in the FA Cup for the first time in that same season, the side were expelled from the Combined Counties League in 2018 after a vote at a league EGM. This was due to a multitude of reasons, including going through 3 home grounds in the space of 3 years, a lack of experienced management at the helm, and a lack of backing from the local fan base, with the home fans being unable to fill the original home ground of the club, the Crystal Palace National Sports Centre. This had a capacity of 16,000. Despite an appeal and an FA investigation into the matter, the side folded completely in December of 2018. Number 7, Clapham Rovers FC. I'll be honest, I did feel a bit embarrassed not including Clapham Rovers in the first video, so I'll make sure I do them justice here. Originally founded alongside a rugby club in 1869, the side played their first match on the 25th of September of that year against the Wanderers, who at that time were arguably the strongest association football club around, and the Rovers actually managed to win 1-0. Despite being both a football and rugby association, the side achieved great success in their early years and were one of the original 15 clubs to play in the first ever FA competition in 1871-72, with Jarvis Kenrick of Clapham Rovers scoring the first ever FA Cup goal in a 3-0 victory over Upton Park on the 11th of November 1871. But this wouldn't be the biggest success in the club's history, as in 1880 they would defeat Oxford University 1-0 to actually win the FA Cup and cement their legacy into the annals of English football. They also reached the final 1 year later, losing it 1-0 to Old Etnians, but sadly a decline would eventually come as the club announced that it would be ceasing all footballing activities following the start of World War I, and when the war ended in 1918, the side would not start back up again, with 3 players losing their lives during the conflict and the captain injured also, but the mark they left will be remembered forever. Number 6, Leeds City FC. Put simply, without the demise of Leeds City FC, there would be no Leeds United. Formed in 1904, Leeds City were elected to the Football League the following year and spent their entire 15-year existence in the second division. During World War I, the club won several honours, including the stewardship of Herbert Chapman, but they were also involved in controversy, as several financial irregularities came to light, including the club paying players during the war, which was an illegal act. Because of this, the club were expelled from the Football League 8 games into the 1919-20 season, and the aggressive and argumentative nature of the club's director resulted in them refusing to operate in an FA inquiry. They became the first club to be expelled from a league mid-season and one of only 2 to be expelled due to financial irregularities, with Bury FC becoming the second almost 100 years later in 2019. Their league position and results were passed over to Port Vale, who ironically nearly suffered the same fate in 1968, and their players and staff were actually auctioned off in October of 1919, with 9 clubs purchasing them for a combined total of £9,250. Number 5, the 105th Regiment FC. Throughout history, football and war have been linked in some form or another, and that goes especially for the 105th Regiment FC, who are a British military football club associated with the 105th Regiment of Foot, or the Madras Light Infantry as it's known. The club operated under Sheffield rules, as the club was stationed in Sheffield during their first game on the 6th of November 1875 against Crystal Palace. Not the one we know today, but a different one. I wonder if we'll hear about them again. The club competed in the first stagings of the Football Association Challenge Cup, with them entering the competition between 1875 and 1878, and they also took part in the FA Cup on several occasions during the 1870s, with their most notable moment being their match against Maidenhead during the 74-75 competition. With the team's players constantly being deployed in different countries and many logistical issues, the 105th Regiment FC dissolved, but it's unclear when it happened, as military teams' history is so scattered. Number 4, Colne Dynamos FC. After being founded in 1963 by Graham White and Trevor Rideau as a team for former students of Primmet High School, Colne Dynamos rose rapidly through the English leagues in the late 1980s, but their success goes back earlier than that, with the side winning the Nelson and Colne League title in their first season, and after winning 3 league titles in 4 seasons, they joined the Burnley combination, where they won the League and League Cup, securing the double. Following this, they moved to the West Lancashire League and won the Division 2 title before winning 4 consecutive division titles from 1972 to 1975. Several promotions and relegations followed, with the instability around the home ground of Holt House proving to be an issue for the club, as they received several low ground ratings because of the quality of the pitch and stands. Following 12 clubs leaving the North West Counties League to form the Northern Premier League new First Division, Colne were promoted to the First Division for the start of the 1987-88 season, despite only finishing 8th the season before. And in their first season, they won the First Division Championship on goal difference, only losing 3 games and conceding 14 goals all season, as well as winning the FA Vase that season as well. Sadly, following a pre-season friendly against Newcastle Blue Star, Graham White informed the players that the club would be folding due to mounting debts, and he actually quit football due to death threats following this. Number 3, Crystal Palace FC. As I mentioned earlier on during the 105th Regiment entry, before Crystal Palace we all know today existed, there was a different adaptation of the club with a fascinating history. Founded in 1861, the club only existed for 15 years before folding in 1876, and they were actually the founding members of the Football Association in 1863, and as described by Charles W. Alcock, they were one of the 4 clubs that formed the backbone of the organisation alongside Wanderers FC, Barnes FC, and another club which we'll go into later, with the 4 sides attending regular meetings in the early years, forming the rules that we know today, including the offside rule. Following these creations, they didn't stop there, as they held a meeting on the 16th of October 1871, where the formation of the FA Cup took place, and the club's secretary Douglas Allport actually created the committee which established the rules of the competition and the purchase of the trophy. They reached the semi-finals of the first tournament and lost to the Royal Engineers following the first ever match replay, and after this the club went on a slow decline, with a scheduled match against Westminster School never taking place, and following the loss of their second home ground, the club disbanded in January of 1876. And while many people claim that the current club is a continuation of the original after its formation in 1905, many historians have disputed this claim, and after a detailed review by the National Football Museum, it was agreed that the original lineage would stay with the original club. Number 2, Leyton FC. Any club that is able to come back from extinction needs a mention on one of these lists, and that goes especially for Leyton FC, who disbanded and reformed several times across their history. After being founded in 1868, the side won multiple trophies, including 2 FA Amateur Cups and 8 Essex Senior Cups, before they merged with Wingate FC in 1975 to become Leyton Wingate FC, which lasted until 1992, when the side then dissolved due to financial issues. 3 years later, they would join with Walthamstow Pennant to become Leyton Pennant. The club were re-established in 1997, and in 2002, they won a High Court case for it to become a continuation of the original side. Following this, the side won back-to-back promotions, winning the Essex Senior League in 2001-02, and then finishing second in the Isthmian League Second Division the following season. However, things soon unravelled as the club went through a multitude of managers in a short space of time, and due to ongoing financial difficulties, the side struggled to continue to function, and an investigation for the HMRC in October of 2009 revealed that club chairman Kostas Sofolikoutou and former director Philip Foster took part in the £16 million worth of VAT fraud, with Kostas being sentenced to 8 years in prison and Philip receiving 5 for their part in the incident. Due to all these issues behind the scenes, the club were unable to pay their league subscription, and in January of 2001, after a short suspension, the club withdrew from the league and dissolved into non-existence. And number 1, the NN Club. The No Name Club is one of the most important in the history of English football, but they aren't a team who a lot of people associate with that statement. After being formed in 1863, the club, with one of the greatest names ever, let's be honest, played their first matches against Barnes FC in January and April of that year, and during this they became one of the 11 founding sides of the Football Association, with club captain Arthur Pember actually becoming the first president of the FA. Despite all of this, though, the side were never considered one of the elite clubs, and attention dwindled shortly after, with the formerly mentioned Pember and new club captain Tebbert losing interest in the side, and the team's final reported match on the 5th of February 1870 resulted in a defeat after only 7 members turned up to play. After this, the club sent representatives to the annual meeting of the Football Association, but this is where the history ends, with published lists of fixtures showing no activity from the club, and the side is absent from all lists of Football Association members from 1871 onward. While Brondesbury Club are considered a resurrection of the NN, it's still a side that is disbanded and therefore a club that no longer exist. And that's our list. If you're new around here, please make sure to click like and subscribe. It really does help out massively. We want to try and get to 2,000 by the end of the year. And also go check out part 1, see if you enjoy it. 10 more clubs that no longer exist. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.